Right, are we all happy to start? Pardon? I what? Right, right. Can I welcome you all to this April meeting of Cong Town Council? Do we have any apologies, please, Steve, Gina?
Yes, I've got apologies from Councillor Lord, Councillor Wildman, Councillor Howarth, and Councillor Clamp.
Any declarations of interest from anyone today? Okay. Well, before we go on, I have to say we won't be having item 7, which is report from the borough and county councils, or Cone in Bloom due to PERDA. Okay. Minutes to approve the correct record of the minutes for the meeting held on Tuesday, the 17th of March. Can I have any questions or queries on that, please?
I propose the minutes, Chair.
Do you want to propose them with a true and correct record? Patricia Howard, second them. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Clerk's update. We've got a thing from the Junior Council and the countryside access information that was sent today. Anybody got any questions on that? No? Sorry. Sarah, sorry.
I've got a sort of tangential comment to make because I went to the Gib Hill Guardians AGM and I am concerned because there are problems with paths and Nelson Town Council, it's been confirmed, do not pay the countryside access. So we're in a position now, and I think it's something we need to think about, but we're in a position now whereby the paths at Gib Hill, especially on the Nelson side, are poor. And Nelson Town Council hasn't paid the money that we, how we had parity. They've not paid. And I had a little look on their website. It seems, because they've been deallocating funds to pay for new bids, that they've spent all their money. It seems that's my understanding of it. It's not definitive, but it's a concern. So now we're in the position whereby we've paid. We've also paid for our countryside access. They haven't paid, and they haven't paid for the countryside access.
I did speak to Nick, the town clerk, about this, and they've never paid into it before. However, when Tom Partridge sent his email, I forwarded it to Nick saying this is what I was talking about. Hopefully he'll get in touch, I don't know, but I did try and convince him that it would be a good thing for the nature reserve.
Any views on what Sarah's said? Anybody got anything to say? Yes, Howard.
As unfortunate as it is, I'm afraid we're not allowed to spend money on that part of it because it's out with our boundary.
Oh yes, yeah. Patricia, do you want, because I know you had some, Nelson Town Council quite well.
I don't know, well, I did. I don't know the present Town Council. But like Sarah said, the area within the Nelson boundary is looking like a wasteland.
Sorry, I missed that.
It's looking like a wasteland. They're not doing what they said they are. I went through it the other day, and I now know where I'm spending my time. I'm going to be selling it in Alton Coats, not Gib Hill, because it's Alton Coats Parks is a heck of a lot better than what Gib Hill is at the moment.
Thank you. Okay, is that everything? It's disappointing, but there we are. Yes.
I agree with what Sarah said, and I did probably state a bit pedantically at the time, a few years ago. I said there was a danger, knowing what Nelson was like, that this would happen, that we would pay our share and they wouldn't pay their match. That's why I've always insisted when we've allocated someone to Nelson, we've said subject to to Gibbill, I've said subject to Nelson matching it, and even that hasn't worked. And I don't know what the answer to it is, because as Howard just mentioned to me, Pendle could take up the slack for Nelson, but even that is only a short-term fix, because in 2 years' time, Pendle won't be here anyway. And I don't know what the answer is, but it can't carry on with us paying our money in and only our half being worked on and the other half looking like a shambles. So I don't know what the outcome is, and it's just unfortunate. It's one of them things, isn't it? It's one of the very few pieces of land or nature reserves that actually overlaps into different areas, and I don't know the answer to it, other than split it, and that wouldn't be helpful.
Right, Sarah.
Well, obviously, the reason that I raised it was because we're talking about the countryside access. So Gina's done her little bit, hasn't she? She's sort of pushed it a bit. Perhaps the thing to consider is whether we write to them formally and say, we got a lot out of it, like formally say so, and then say, just to be clear, we always said we'd pay our bit if you paid your bit. We paid our bit on the and I know that we Gibhill Guardians applied to them on the 11th of February. So they've been applied to, and we could put it nicely and just say we're just checking. Because obviously we're coming into a new year. And I think if we did that, it sort of raises it and shows that we care about Gibhill. We could word it very carefully.
Yes, Andy.
Sarah, can I ask a question? Did they pay last year's? So 24, 25 or 25, 26. So that's been done. So we're now looking at the next one, which will be April, I presume.
Well, no, they haven't paid this year that finishes. That,
Oh,
yeah, they haven't paid 25/6.
Yeah.
And obviously there is 26/7.
Yeah.
We don't want them missing a year, do we?
Unless we have a chat between our council, their council, again, if it does say this was what the agreements were, you're not.
Which we'll send a letter first. Is that?
Can I suggest as well that we do formally do that letter, but also presumably Gibhill Guardians are doing their own credit control?
Gibhill Guardians are delightful people, but they don't know how councils work. Or, you know, that there are time frames within years or anything like that. So I don't think they're probably nearly as worried as I am. And I didn't want to be worrying them too much.
Well, we've got a motion to send a more formal letter. Right. Everybody in favour? You're looking quizzical, Mr. Clegg.
Yes, Chairman. I'm of the mind that this year the Guardians asked for, and I think that's the first time that the Guardians have asked for it. When they paid it the year before, it was actually Pendle that asked us for the money, weren't it? Yes.
Well, David will probably know.
I'm sure it was Phil that asked us for the money last time on behalf of Gibhill. Now, with it being official, more official coming from Pendle, they might have, just as a matter of course, signed it off and paid it. But I think this is the first time the Guardians have actually themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the right way to do it. But I think that would be the first time that the Guardians applied.
I can't remember the money went to the Guardians though, so I don't remember who formally asked for it.
I'm wondering if it was before they were a properly constituted group and didn't have a bank account.
Well, no, because they were a properly constituted group with a bank account called Hillside Heroes, and then they just changed their name. So they were, even before Gibhill was made a nature reserve,
Yeah.
it was a charity with a bank account, properly constituted group, and then they changed their name.
So, are we? Does anybody need to?
I'll double check that.
On the application.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
curiosity.
And if it was Phil, do we want to speak to him and see how he got his money, how he got the money?
Yes, and also that's worthwhile doing it in that 2 stages, because Phil Riley wasn't at the meeting. It was Chris McGee who came
Oh.
to the meeting. Phil Riley was on holiday, so it's quite possible that the 2 things haven't been joined up. So let's do it in the 2 stages. Phil first.
And then a letter if needs be. Yeah, is everybody happy with that? Yeah, past that, good, thank you. Finances. Is there any questions for either of these 2 papers, which is 8A for the payment schedule for the month, and then the summary of the budget, expenditure and commitments?
I will just say before we start, it does say as of 31st of March, but as yet we are still sorting out the accruals, prepayments, and all those journals. So it's not actually showing an accurate picture at the moment.
Any questions, councillor?
Yeah,
Um,
I'm looking at on 8B at the bottom, and it's looking like we're going to be in deficit at the end of it. At the bottom of the net spend to date, we're in deficit to 1,017. Is that an accurate
means
figure, or is that just an estimated figure?
That's what she means.
Yeah, if you look at the
Well,
Right.
Patricia's asking about 8B, the budget.
Right, it depends on how up to date Steve is on his posting, because we did request £40,000 from the public sector deposit fund to come back in, so that should be in there in the actuals. We've also done that again today, another 50,000, because we don't actually get paid from Pendle till the end of next week.
I think he means halfway down the right hand side there. That minus there, that's a plus thing, as it were. If you look at the top right corner, the precept is a negative number. So negative's good and positive's a spend. There you go.
David? Yeah, yes.
Whilst we're on that page,
Yeah.
then, I've always wondered about this section down the bottom right there, the sort of red stuff, which that really had any value.
That's it's probably for my purposes, and I know how much was carried forward from previous years, etc., etc. Obviously, it's something that was already there when I started, so I just continued to do it.
Just because it's based on forecast numbers and budget numbers, it's not really even actuals anyway.
But it shows how much of the budget was agreed, how much was carried forward from previous, and then how much you've overspend. Any overspends basically means you've transferred it from reserves.
In a way, I think probably you've got this number in the blue here, which is the general reserve, and you've got the earmark reserves here. So we've got a grand total of reserves in that middle section. That's more actual.
But yeah, I think that's obviously, but is that not? That's based on previous year, whereas that gives you more of an indication mid-year if you've transferred from reserves or not, what your end reserves will be.
I mean, it's a good idea to track the general reserve. By the time we get to the end of the year, we'll have a closing general reserve and closing earmark reserve. So we know that closing reserve can become the opening reserve for the new year, and then whatever this number is here is the amount we're up or down on the general reserve for the forthcoming year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a way to track it maybe slightly better. I don't know.
And I just say I find it. I'm not illiterate yet, but I'm not good at numbers, and I'm not really interested in numbers. I'm not great at all these numbers, but I do look at this and just check that and some of the headlines rather than digging in. So I do find it quite, that's the first thing I look at really when I get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things with any financial report generally. It's a case of who's the audience. Do the audience understand it? Get the best of it. So if you've sort of inherited it from several years ago, maybe you have a look at it.
obviously the numbers are nearly there anyway. There are obviously some significant numbers for spend, and obviously they worked into the next year's budget, so there's no particular comment to make on those.
You're looking at the expenditure now, yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of questions on these expenditure ones. Electrical work for CCTV at Alkincoats, sort of a quarter of the way down the second page, dated the 27th of March. So £6,000. Is that just on one particular CCTV, or is it multiple, or?
I think that's utility bill, isn't it? Is it for the actual putting the infrastructure in?
Yeah, so it's for the civils work for Electricity North West to actually supply power to the CCTV columns. That's both columns in the park.
Wow, okay. Good setup. Then on the third page, we've got a lot of these GM5 and GM6 payments. I assume we were just catching up, were we?
They were very late in sending them in, but I did have to
Slow
chase
bidding.
them. Yeah.
Okay. And the only other one was about halfway down on that one. Got a payment to Holker about the quarterly line rental broadband.
Mhm.
2,700.
Yes, that's for the leased line broadband that we've got.
This sort of dedicated lease line fibre thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Otherwise, I can move. Yeah.
Is that going forward if there is that main method of broadband for cameras?
It's for the cameras in the building and the officers, basically.
Okay.
Oh, actually, the town centre cameras do run on it.
Yeah,
Oh, don't they?
it's what was required to send the monitoring over to Blackburn.
Yeah, but CCTV.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Good to have that as a dedicated line. So yes, I'll move 8A and 8B.
Thank you, David. Can I have some new sec?
I'll second
Thank
those.
you. Thank you, Patricia. All those in favour? Thank you. The next item is our financial risk register with all the lovely colours.
Right. So basically, nothing has been changed since the last time it came here. Given that I wasn't at that meeting, so we were kind of unsure what needed to be changed. So.
Anybody anything to say? Yes, David?
So
No,
again,
fine. You.
I think my thrust of last time is really just to help you to say that if we're already doing something in that penultimate column, which means that that's why we accept it and that's why the risk is this and the likelihood is that, then obviously the end column is what is on your things to do list.
Yes.
So obviously saying that's what we're going to implement to make the score even less or even keep it the same.
Mhm.
So it's designed to help you to be able to prioritize what you want to do. Because in a way, you and FES, etc., the key question is, what keeps you awake at night? What do you go home, lie in bed, put your head on the pillow and think, oh my word, what if? Which is the one or two things that are particularly important? And obviously, looking at the scoring, the one that keeps you awake is the Blues, because obviously that's the one with the highest leftover score. So almost focusing down on some of those. I mean, some of them even, if you look at the very first one, for example, on banking, failure of a bank. Now that would be headline news everywhere, wouldn't it really? I know. So what we've got is we're saying what we're going to do is we're going to monitor things, but in a sense, just monitoring where our money is, we're almost better off saying that every year we'll do a review of the ratings. So we've got the ratings in the penultimate column. So the action point really is to say we will check these ratings every single year. And obviously we've got the insurance in place, the Fidelity Guarantee insurance, because again, that gives us some comfort. So I would suggest perhaps likelihood, if you say a likelihood is a 2, then of course, going back to our wonderful grid, a likelihood of 2 is it's going to happen once every 3 to 5 years. Now, our choice of banks means that's not really likely.
Mhm.
So again, you might think that you could reduce that to a 1. Looking down at the couple down below, numbers 3 and 4, expenditure and budget spending, etc. So the end column just says more frequent random sampling. Now, if I look in the earlier columns, it doesn't say what you're doing at the moment in terms of random sampling. So to say more frequent random sampling, you're doing more of something that you're not doing anyway. So it's just a case again of just have a think of some of those words, and if the risk and if the impact and the likelihood are really low, then in a sense, do you really need to do random sampling of that because you've got all the comfort you need? So just have a little think about those in the cold light of day. But otherwise, you know, it's a nice robust thing. We've got all our bases covered, and we've again taken credit for that. So that's all I would suggest.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone got any?
I'll move it as is, if you like.
Oh, thank you. It's been moved. Can we have a seconder, please? Andy, I'll take that. All those in favour, please. Is there any additional questions to what David said? I know it has. I know it's about, I mean, just as a discussion, you know.
Well, just one other thing.
Right. The next item is the blues. Okay.
Oh, wait, no.
So, to date, we've sold 203 tickets and 40 camping pictures, which we're slightly ahead of where we were this time last year, which is good. You may have seen that the 2025 festival won the award for the UK Blues Based Festival of the Year, which it's the third time the festival's won the award. So we're now on the UK Blues Hall of Fame. Which is good, means we don't have to keep going to Milton Keynes.
What a
But
thing.
that's pretty much where we are at the moment with the festival.
Sarah, do you want to add a question?
So I'd like to, raise a sort of formal thanks to our officers who work so hard year round for the Blues, and also to the Cone Blues Society, who are just generally such good eggs.
Yeah. I think we'd all second that and vote for that. Anything else anyone wants to say about the blues? Alice? Oh, sorry, Andy.
If you're going to be congratulating the officers, Cone Blues Society, you need to mention the volunteers as well, because without the volunteers,
Yes, we would be in, yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just said Alice because Alice usually mentions about the litter picking, etc., etc.
We will be litter picking as usual, and hopefully we will have both black bins and brown bins together. I noticed at the last events we had lots of brown bins, but unfortunately we didn't have very many black bins. You've got to put them together, otherwise people will just use the brown bins as ordinary waste because there's nowhere else to put it.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
The flag, is it still good enough nick to use this year?
It is, yes. It's been washed and it's still in good condition.
Okay.
Because we put it up last year because we won the second time. I certainly think we should put it up this year because now it's 3 down. But I was just asking, is flag still in good nick? I just think
Okay. Item 12 is Cone Neighbourhood Plan. So we'll receive an update from Sarah.
Yes, the update is slight because both Gina and I have been weighed under with other things, but we do have a way forward. Gina has sent me the draft minutes this afternoon and I have not read them. I had too much to do, but I will read them tomorrow, I promise. And then Gina is going to cross-check version 3 of our draft policies against all the things that were pointed out in the meeting. We had a private item and Gina said, oh, what was it about? And I'm asking you to use your collective hive mind here because I can't remember. I think if I read the minutes again, it'll come to me. But at the moment, we don't know what our private item is or what it was. I have gone round with David and done more non-designated heritage assets. I've said this before. I might say it again. Surely there are no more non-designated heritage assets in the whole of Cone. They are done. Surely they are. I have not written up this latest tranche. There's quite a lot to do, so I've got to do that. Plus, I have got to pre-see some of the longer intro sections to the various sections that aren't the policies in our neighbourhood plan, so that it's briefer and shorter and easier to digest. The longer policies will still be standalone pieces of evidence base. Alice, I have asked Gina to work with Scott to send you the town centre map, which is one thing from Pendle, and then separately, Cone Bid have what all the businesses are. So, but they have it across the whole of their bid area. So you will have two things, which is the map of the town centre and the map of the businesses, and you have to just ignore the edge.
Yeah, that's
because
be very helpful.
We're doing a survey, and Alice very kindly stepped up to do this, whereby we just find out what the uses are for all of our first floors across the town. It'll help feed into our policies. And then when we've done all of that, hopefully sort of back end of May or beginning of June, we'll have the next meeting. But that next meeting should be, essentially, it should be an almost getting ready to go for Regulation 14, which seems sudden, but I don't think there's much more for us to discuss after that. We'll look at that, and then there'll be all the sort of admin things to do, which would be Gina and the team writing to all the people who own the non-designated heritage assets, because you have to do that kind of thing. But they're just, I say they're just the admin things, they're important to do. That's just like a checklist. So we should be able to soon, this summer, go for that Regulation 14 and see where we're up to. So I think that's that. If you've got any questions for me.
Any questions?
Oh, Ian.
Oh, Ian.
Thank you. On the heritage assets, have you included, because it's actually streets as opposed to just the building, and I can think of 3 streets in Waterside. One that's a definite should be preserved,
Okay.
and that's the bottom section of Walton Street.
Oh, okay.
And that was nearly demolished about 20 years ago. A certain council at the time wanted it demolished and rebuilding.
So these are they're like special character areas.
The reason for it is the name given, the local name for that bottom of the street was called Coffin Row. And if you go up to Lenton and look down, look at an aerial map, and you look at, if you want top-down view, the actual street is shaped like a coffin.
Okay.
Nobody knows why. So some of the houses, they're all two up, two down standard terraced houses, but they're different sizes.
Really?
Because it's a coffin shape. So the shoulders are wider than the feet.
Well,
so when you look top down, the houses at the shoulders are bigger than the houses at the bottom.
okay. All right.
It's unique. It's a unique street, Coffin Row.
Well, you put forward another area for me to go and look at in the last meeting. I feel a bit sad, honestly. Stop giving me areas to look at. I will look at both of those, but they wouldn't be non-designated heritage assets. They would be special character areas. But I'll have a look at it. I'll look at there's a checklist by Historic England, so don't be offended if we're not ticking all the boxes, and we can bring that for a discussion to the next meeting.
Yeah, because the other ones, there's obviously one is Atkinson Street because
Atkinson Street's on it.
yeah, and Doughty Street,
Yes, Doughty Street isn't on it, but you mentioned that at the last
Yeah.
meeting.
but definitely Coffin Row.
Okay, Coffin Row it is, the bottom of Walton Street.
Don't go up in a car to the top of Walter Street, because you'd be in a pothole and you would probably disappear. Actually, so bad.
Oh dear.
I think it's because it's used as a rat run when it's busy and so big wagons and that go up, and it's just horrendous.
Oh,
I
dear.
was doing that trying to miss things. Well, it really is. Must be one of the worst in Combe, but.
Oh, well, we'll get on Love Clean Streets while I'm there. But Gina, I'd be very grateful if you could remind me about those two things. And when I've written this latest non-designated heritage assets, I'll go and look at these new character areas.
Okay.
Is there anything to do with the neighbourhood plan that anybody wants to ask?
Yes, Chairman.
Yes.
Can I ask Sarah if the viaduct is designated, and if it isn't, should it be?
I think it is.
I think, yeah.
It is.
It is.
No, it is. Yes,
I think it is.
it is.
Okay. Nothing else? Nobody else? No? Okay. Right, we'll move on to item 13, which is planning. There's been an extra one on today. The first one is 26/0158. Oh, that's a TPO. Are we happy? It's at the Prospect Farm caravan site, but they want to chop a tree down. Yes, Ian?
I think, yeah, because obviously they're happy to plant a Burton Rowan as replacement trees. I think that's really good thinking on their part.
Will they? Will they though?
I have a feeling they will.
No.
Looking at this, and when they say the reason for removing wrong trees in the wrong place.
Yeah.
What they want to do is put more caravans on there. That's the issue. Yes, Alice.
I went up there probably about 6-7 years ago, and it was a lovely place to live. The caravans were well spaced. They were large caravans. Now they are cramped in, absolutely. And what I worry about is that they want to remove this tree simply so they've got another caravan space.
Yes, Sarah.
I wasn't going to comment, but obviously we're not the decision-making body, Alice, and I think Combe Area Committee were already at appeal on this point. So in fairness, we could make a comment, couldn't we? We could make a comment if we chose to, and that would follow previous fears that we, borough councillors and the town council, have expressed.
Yeah, I'd put that we're concerned is just being removed to cram more homes in. Are we happy with that? Well, are we? Yes.
A lot of it where it doesn't say that they're diseased, but if I've forgotten his name, Roland Jones, not the right name.
Yeah.
If he comes back and says they're diseased, there's not a lot we can
No.
can do.
But
I share everybody's fear that
there's a history.
finding excuses to make more room for squeeze more caravans in.
Yeah.
Well.
Yes. So we'll. Yes,
Michael. If it's a wrong tree in the wrong place, it's because somebody planted a caravan next to it.
Yeah.
Allow it this time. Well.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. But there is. Yeah. I won't go in. I'll lose dull on thing. Right. The next one is 26/164 variation. It's land to the southwest of Phillips Lane Works, down Phillips Lane. I don't know what the variation is. Really, it doesn't say. Does it? What is it? No, it's there.
I think it's. I'm assuming that's the picture. I think if memory serves me, it's where they pump the gas through, and it's just like it seems to be ages ago that I looked at it when it first came on.
Is it over the bridge?
It's behind.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever they call themselves nowadays. Foundry supplies.
Yeah. Oh, there. Yeah.
I think you'd find it very difficult to see it from
anywhere but right up to it. I think it's more a technical thing to do with pumping whatever they're pumping round and powering and what have you.
So should we say no comment? Yeah. Next one is 26/0160/HHO. It's 34 Barrowford Road, Colne. It's erection of dormers to front and rear roof slopes.
I actually asked Nathan to go on Street View for us, because obviously when we look at anything like this, we have to look at the row in question. It's quite a pretty row. It's not a conservation area, but wait till he comes around the corner.
There we go.
Yes, you need to come forward. Yeah, there we go. You want to go there. Over there. Yes, exactly. And then sort of look down the row now. So it's the corner house, and then as you come down the street, you'll see further down the street there are dormers. Now, normally it's difficult to put a new dormer in a row, but as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dormers on this row. So, ordinarily, we would have something to say about it. I don't think that we can have anything to say about it, except for possibly the design.
Other than being an end or from it.
Yeah. Is that the one near the care home?
So
Peel
this
Gardens?
design,
It's back of Selby Street.
Yeah, and goes on to Peel Gardens
so
from
this
there. doesn't
design
it?
is the grimmest possible design. So you saw the little dormers, the little pointed dormers. This takes up the whole frontage. You can see that the aspect ratio of the window is completely wrong. So we've got verticality of the terraced house windows, and then we've got a wide modern style window. So it's almost like we're not going to pay any attention to the architecture of this building at all. We're just going to put like a little mobile home on the top, and then a flat extension on the back, again with a modern window that trashes the aspect ratio of the windows. So I don't think that we can say on this particular row that you can't have dormers, front or back, but I do feel, even though this isn't a conservation area, that this really, it represents poor design.
Yeah. Yeah. And the person who lived there before, they'd be horrified, wouldn't they?
The people that lived there before, I think I'm right.
Dead.
That one were the people that had Tobias's.
Yes, yes, it was. Yeah.
The design is trying to think of a polite word.
Should be more like the.
It doesn't begin with C and end in P.
Can you say it's not in keeping with the
other the other
the
ones
back-
that are there?
The thing about the back one as well is there's actually one almost directly opposite on Selby Street. But I mean, if you look at the furthest left, if the window was in the middle, it wouldn't be it'd still be bad, but not as bad. So
I think it's the fact that it takes up the whole of the frontage of the roof.
Yeah.
that's part of the day. If Nathan can go back to his street view, I don't know whether it caught the Selby Street one, because that's quite a big.
Can you see it? That's Selby Street. There, that one there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's horrible. But it's
Yeah.
the other end.
Yeah.
Well, it'd look better if the window was in the middle.
Yeah.
Rather than on one side.
It is the aspect ratio of the window as well.
Those ones there.
It's not that big compared with this one. They're not
No,
taking up
no.
the whole width of the roof.
And they're not as tall, are they? They're
It's not a good design. Have we got any of the pointed variants? Yes. Coming along, coming along.
Yeah, there.
There.
mm,
So what number is that? I think that's what we'd like to see, isn't it?
it's about, what number's
Number-
this? What number is this?
52.
52.
So we could actually say, we'd like to see one like number 52.
The resident of which is watching this on YouTube and just fallen off the chair.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so you've got that, the issues that we have with it. It's too big, it's not too big and not in keeping. Right. The next one is 26/0185 stroke FUL. It's Unit 4, 6-way, Silk Way, Business Park, White Walls Drive.
Is this not where it's supposed to be a manufacturing unit that was supposed to be given planning permission for?
You might say that, I don't know. Is this where the M&S is going to potentially be done? What we're going to say other than,
Is it possible for Nathan to show us the site plan? Because I think the site plan really says more than the facades, because it just shows the juxtaposition to the poor people on Greenfield Road, and really genuinely is the width of a hedge and a carriageway. That's all it is. I do feel for these people so badly. It's that I read the statement, and it said we've respected these houses, we've stayed back from these houses, and then you look at the plan and you think, oh, really? It's just like a big hedge, and then the road.
I mean, one of the things to take into consideration is, since that garage has been built, is the state of the rubbish that's been generated in that area, especially when you've got nature reserve adjoining, is something to be taken into consideration that is proven already to be detrimental.
Not sure it is the location, I think it's the site plan, but it's a site plan instead of location plan. Site master plan, that's what you need, I think. Oh, no, it's down a bit.
Number those 7.
Proposed site master plan, lower. Here we go. So no, wait a minute, you've over zoomed.
Look at that.
Could you zoom out? Because it shows the houses. Can you see the houses? It's just a hedge. Can you see? That's right up against them. I know, but then you've got all the movement and the headlamps, haven't you? I don't know. I'm sure that there's nothing we can say about it really, beyond just feeling really sad for these people.
Anthony?
The reason why we're here discussing this is because someone years ago decided to sell off the protection on this land. If that protection had remained on there, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't have the EG garage on there. It'd still be there in place. We can't say no to everything that's going to go there. We'd like obviously we rejected the fast food place. We could obviously say this, but something else is going to come along, and it's no one's going to be happy whatever goes there. Nobody. We're not going to please everyone with what goes there. Something has to go. And if one of them decided, right, we're going to challenge this down and go, it's going to cost us a fortune. It's going to cost us a fortune to fight this. I think it's an unwinnable battle. It's the best of a supermarket's the best of a bad situation, in my opinion.
Is it a supermarket?
Yeah, it's a food hall.
That's it. To me, a food hall is.
No,
A
it's what
food hall to me is where you go in and it's selling food.
it's what Marks and Spencer's call their supermarkets. They call them food halls. It's basically, I've been in quite a few of them. They're nice places. They are nice places. They'll have like a little cafe and stuff like that. They are nice. Yes, it's going to bring jobs. It's going to bring money into the town. And I know it's a detriment to the area, but we can't keep saying no to these things, because whatever we say, not it's the options are going to get worse and worse. It's going to get to a point where we're in a situation where it's something we don't want, but we cannot afford to keep objecting to.
Thank you. Well, we can't object. We can only give a comment. It's not. Yeah. Ian.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sure I'm going back quite a few years. It hasn't changed. But if it had been an industrial unit or manufacturing, whatever, then we couldn't say no. What we've got to look at this, and the important point here is, it is a supermarket. And has anybody actually thought of what negative impact it's going to have on the local retailers? If you look at Colne at the moment, we've already got Asda, we've got Lidl, we've got Aldi, we've got Sainsbury's. How many more supermarkets do we need in the area?
I get that.
Half a dozen, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do we have to get rid of all the local shops just to make these rich people even richer who want to put profits first?
Ian, when in these big when Sainsbury's came, everyone had the same fear that it was going to drive all the food establishments, all the greengrocers and all that. Like, it was going to drive them out of town, and it didn't. It didn't drive these businesses out. People still go to the places that know. People thought we were going to lose the butchers because Sainsbury's was going to get, but the butchers are still there. We thought we were going to lose the greengrocers, but the greengrocers are still
They're
there.
still struggling.
But they're still
It
there
was
because
a
people
negative
go to
impact.
what they know.
There's still a negative
People go
impact.
from Colne to go to these places. They go from Colne, they go to Burnley, they go to far away to go to shop at these places. If we're bringing them to Colne, it's good for this town. It's like everyone thought like we're going to lose like all the trade from the town. When Next opened, every time a new store, big name comes to town, everyone comes out fear-mongering that we're going to lose trade from that. We don't. People are still going to go to the town centre shop. They're still going to go to it. We're just reopening our market with a fantastic new food court as well. We're bringing in money. We're bringing businesses into this town. We can't keep turning we don't want to be a town where businesses are going to look at it and go, we're not going to go there because people are going to get an attitude to us, because council's going to get an attitude to us. We need to be a town where we're welcoming businesses, we're welcoming stuff to this town. We can't keep just saying, no, we're not going to have this because of X, Y, and Z. We can't. We need people. We need jobs for people. We need businesses. We need people to come and live in this town, pay the council tax, and come and work here. And it's going to attract people to come and work here.
And you put your hand up, and then Howard.
I've got a couple of questions because I can't see the figures on there. What height and length are we looking at? I've got glasses, but I still can't read that.
It's probably you're looking around.
If you go to the sides, so we're looking at 3.1 plus 1 above floor level, plus 6. So you're looking at what, 9 meters?
You're looking at
9, 10 meters height.
Height of say TK Maxx is.
So that's 6, 12.
Give or take what TK Maxx is.
8.
Oh, it's 8. Sorry. But you've got 8 to there, then you've got plus 3.
No, one's above plus 3 above ground level, and the other's at plus 8. So the 5 meters between the two that. It's 8 at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 meter. Yeah, right. So it's 8 meter height to the eaves, and 6.5 meters per bay.
Yeah. It's not that. Don't forget, on a field, they've got permission to put an industrial unit there.
Yeah.
You should sell it for if you try and reject that. But can I just make one comment, Chairman, quickly, because it's nothing really to do with the planning. But I think, as regards it damaging the town centre, which has been referred to, if it was there, it would do a lot less damage to the town centre than if they were to move into an empty building that we've already got, which is the old Matalan building, and they could go in there without planning permission, and they'd be near the town centre.
The only,
They could have a bigger effect.
Howard?
the tragedy of all this is that Pendle Council owned, in inverted commas, a ransom strip, which was to the west of where EG Garages now is. And that ransom strip, or that piece of land, was sold off to developers by a party that wasn't our party, that was in control at the time, and against advice from some older, wiser people, sold it off. And this is why we've now got this situation. If that was still owned by Pendle, it would be worth a lot more now if they were really keen on coming there. Or B, it just would save those houses from interference. I mean, the worst of it is going to be, I would guess, at weekends and evenings when people are still coming in and out of there. Perhaps we could try and ask for limited hours, that they don't go beyond, say, 7 p.m. at night. And obviously Sunday they're limited by the rules on Sunday shopping. But the horse has bolted, and it bolted about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whenever the piece of land was sold off. And I think, other than asking for slightly more restrictive hours and or extra shielding from the site for the residents of that bit of along Greenfield Road,
Not much else we can do.
there's not an awful lot we can do. As I say, the horse bolted when some people of the party, they were of the Tory party, may not have been people who are now in that, but that was the fight. I said when it was, and the horses bolted.
Okay. Sarah.
Now we've been outed as the Tory party have done it, I have to respond, which I think's sad. It makes the Colne Town Council unpleasant, and it's unnecessary. Essentially what it was, we didn't even know about it, nobody knew about it. It was the early days of COVID. There weren't any online meetings. There was no Zoom or Teams or anything. Under emergency powers, Pendle Council called, I think it was 3 Nelson councillors. And the 3 Nelson councillors acted, as far as I'm aware, under officers' advice. And they just did a whole load of emergency business. Nobody knew about it. We didn't know about it. It was done under those emergency COVID times. And I think we all remember what happened under those times. We couldn't meet, there wasn't anything online. And it was in that tiny window of weeks when this happened. And I think all Colne councillors of any party feel very, very sad about it, because it affected our town. And there were no Colne councillors in this. I think it was only 3 councillors that were called under emergency powers. That's how it came about.
Thank you.
Chairman, I can actually clarify that for you all. Sarah is virtually right. It was at the beginning, it were in spring in 2020. Was it 20 or 20, weren't it? 20. And it was just about the time that we at Colne Town Council decided to start having meetings online. And it was quite a time after that before Pendle Council grew the guts to even attempt to try it, and they didn't have any meetings. And at that time, I was on the exec, and I should have been at that meeting, and it was a meeting of the exec they called, and yes, it was policy and resources at the time, but I was barred from going to it because I was over a certain age and more vulnerable, and I wasn't allowed to go. The same happened to Tony Greaves. He couldn't go. And Sarah is right, they did have a meeting with just 3 councillors, which was less than the quorum they needed to officially have the meeting, and not one councillor out of those 3 came from Colne. They were all Nelson ones. And it were a total stitch up, and it were totally wrong, and I don't know how Pendle ever got away with that. But just to clarify, it wasn't a meeting to decide on the sale of the land. The land had already been sold. Yes, and it was sold with a covenant on it. And they got a few £100,000 for the price of the covenant to take it off. And it was a total stitch up. And Colne didn't even benefit from the money they got from it.
Thank you. Who was the other one who wanted? And
Just got a couple of things I want to say is we've already witnessed so far with the Yarrowitch when it was put in, the amount of subsequent planning applications for lights, displays, lighted displays. I'm looking at that building there, which is white. I think that's going to be very overpowering for the neighbours. I think it should be a neutral colour that blends in rather than being bright white. And the other one I'm concerned about is the amount of lighting that they will be looking at putting in, because that's going to have a big effect. We've already got the effect down there anyway, but I don't want to see that situation becoming worse, especially for the car park and especially for whatever they're going to be putting on top of the signs up there. Plus, you guarantee they'll turn around and say we need to put new totems up, advertising. So I'm a bit concerned about the lights pollution, but also the colouring of the building itself. I don't think it's going to be too obtrusive.
we've got lighting. You know, two.
It's a bright, neutral white with a subtle hint of grey.
All right. And is there anything else we want?
I'm guessing that we'll get more applications in though for additional lights.
Lighting or advertising or yes, Patricia.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I agree with Councillor Bell. It's the makeup of the building looks like it just looks like a block of concrete. We do need to have it a bit more subdued. The lighting and the car park, again, that's going to create problems. But as Councillor Chamberlain has said, we are going to need this for employment, for other food services and stuff. And I don't think it. I can't agree with Councillor Robinson in the fact that it's going to detriment our high street. I'm a great advocate for our high street. But the car park, the noise is another one I'm thinking, especially early doors when all the food trucks, delivery trucks are coming in. And the late night shopping, like Councillor Clegg has already, or Councillor Howard has already mentioned. We can't, as I say, there's not a lot we can actually say against it, but we can put our concerns in. And I think they're the main concern, the likes of the main concern, the environmental impact, not only the light, the noise, but the rubbish that will be accumulated, because we're already getting a lot of rubbish from the garage sites So it's just going to make it even more unattainable.
We got lighting, noise.
Noise pollution, environmental impact, lighting of the area, the colour of the building.
Well, I mean, there's wildlife, but there'll be none left, will there? Right, when that's all done. Yeah, yeah. Right, can we move on? It's 26/0141 FUL. It's Spring Gardens Farm, Daisy Street, Colne. It's conversion of the remaining centre section of an existing barn to form one dwelling, including associated external alterations. Yes, Sarah.
Nathan, could you flick to the as it is now? Oh, that's what as it is now. Yeah. So you see that it used to have 3 tall openings plus the barn doors. And certainly the SPD that Pendle had before it came in with its current local plan, and I confess I cannot remember what the state of affairs is now, but it always used to be that agricultural buildings should be read as agricultural buildings. They should still demonstrably look like agricultural buildings, albeit in a domestic use. So Nathan, if you could zoom out again and go and look at what they propose. To me, that just looks like a domestic building. So from my perspective, I wonder whether this really is too much fenestration. Could, in fact, there be some roof lights instead? Or could the windows just be opened up to their full original extent, which we saw was sort of tall windows in that existing? It's a question, I ask it. Obviously, the barn doors are all glazed. It's not a conservation area, but it doesn't look, that range now doesn't have any feeling of a barn or an ex-agricultural building.
Any other comment? Oh, Ian, yes.
Thank you. I agree with Sarah. You know, it's just going to alter it from what it originally looked like too much. You know, it's a very old building. I believe way back it was actually used by a potato company. I think it was Genpack or something. But it's it's been there for a long time. And I think to alter it wouldn't be very good to that extent. You know, I've seen barn conversions that do look like they are barns that are in domestic use. This doesn't anymore. It's just going to. I think it's just going to destroy the look of it.
Thank you.
You know, it's a detriment because it is quite visible where it is, and that. I think they need to reevaluate the design of it to keep it more in keeping with what it is.
Any other comments from anyone? No. So have you got that? No, we got.
Too many windows.
I think it's too many windows, but it's also they're the wrong shape, aren't they, for the actual building? And the question is, could it have roof lights that would illuminate that first floor? Or if the windows were brought back to their full height, perhaps they could have low windows on the first floor that's the top of the, like they do when they convert churches.
I think the existing windows, the staying downstairs on first floor.
But they've been partially built.
Yeah, no, I have that. Sorry, the ground. You can't tell from that. I don't know whether that's the link or the version.
What we got? That the windows are too.
There were only big windows there originally. From there, we can't tell whether they were like they're proposed or different. Come down the radius height. The windows were that high on the front side. Well,
That's the back side.
That's the back side. So if you look at the back side and the front side, similar to the back side. Yeah. What they have, I think they're doing basically what we're doing, pricing on the right side, split them into a probably just a little bit. On the front side, the other window still.
So do we want to say we'd like it to still look like a barn? Yeah. And mention the windows. Yeah. Want it to look like a barn. Keep its character as a barn. And it's something to do with the window. Right. The next one is this is Mr. Mac. It's 26/0188 TWR, Christchurch Vicarage, Keighley Road, Colne. See attached report for schedule and site plan.
There what it is.
Do we not have it then? Do we not have? Is it just trees? Oh, it's a T.
Doesn't actually say what it is. Does it? What's the TWR? Tree work request.
Request. Is it in the? Oh, it's at the vicarage. There's not. The vicarage doesn't have a lot of trees around it though.
The report. It makes sense when you take these out in place with. I can't remember what.
So what we say, no comment. Are we saying no comment to what? Yeah.
I think we should very technical.
No, the lady who lives in the house below it. I could have asked her. Right. The next one is it's McAdams. It's 26/0217 HHO. It's it's for Craigmore, Keighley Road, Colne, erection of a detached residential annex. Yes, Sarah.
So this is in the grounds for non-designated heritage asset in a conservation area. So we are looking for a really high standard of design. And actually, there's a sort of parallel, if you remember, a couple of months ago, we had a couple of times a sort of little building on Barrowford Road. Do you remember? And we were saying, it's not a conservation area. There's some things we can do, but we can't do too much. I would say that this should have the highest standards of design. So this is meant to be like a little pavilion, isn't it? And if you actually look at Craigmore, it's got the most magnificent roof of diminishing courses of Westmoreland slate. And there's nowhere here that it says that this would be Westmoreland slate. And similarly, Craigmore has Accrington brick, which is a very particular sort of very smooth, thin jointed brick. And then it has something called Harling. And Harling is not like standard render. It's not got the kind of texture of porridge. It's like somebody's just flung a load of stones against it. It's very, very rough. It's rough. And I would say, now you could say I'm being a massive nerd here, but I would say that it would be really sad if this subservient and largely hidden building didn't ape the host building. And in fact, it's a very, I'm going to use what our son would say, it's a very meh design. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not a terrible design, but it's not a really high quality design that apes the house. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to have chimneys. I'm not talking about huge expense. Certainly the materials of the diminishing courses of the Westmoreland slate, certainly the Accrington brick, certainly the Harling. But I would love to see some of the kind of whimsical details that the actual main house has. So the main house has little sort of metalwork on the roof and things like that. There were things that this little modest like pavilion, annex, whatever you want to call it, could have that would just lift it stylistically. And I know that that's not a planning reason. So I've written to the planning officer a few weeks ago. I've not had a response yet. Certainly, I do think we can insist on the materials, but I would just love to see a little bit more character. So, for example, the main house has leaded light windows. Wouldn't it be lovely if this, perhaps not the French doors, but the windows were leaded lights as well? It just would be lovely to see. And I know that it's mainly screened and hidden and all of that, but I always say, if you have to write so much about it's hidden by this and it's hidden by this and it's hidden by that, it's almost like you're admitting to yourself, no one wants to see it. Whereas really, you should be like, let everyone see it because it's fabulous. That's what I think.
Any other? No, no. So, what we're saying as a council, are we happy with what Sarah said? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Bedroom, is it? So, yeah, it is a proper residential thing. Right, the next one is 26/0227 HHO. It's 5 Bent Lane, Colne. It's demolition of existing side and rear extensions, erection of 2-story side extensions and single-story rear extension with altered vernacular access. Yes, Sarah.
I love it. This shows when somebody has gone into design and thought about it. This is not bog standard. This is a modern take on an Edwardian villa. It's again in a conservation area. It is not just like how cheaply can we throw up an extension. They've given this some thought. We've got the Harling, we've got the Accrington brick, we've got beautiful sort of Macintosh fenestration. It's subservient to the main dwelling. It's stepped down, it's stepped back. I think we should welcome it. I think it will be an ornament to the road.
Which side is it on? Going up the right?
Going down the right.
Going down. Right, yes, yeah. Okay. Yes, yeah. Are we happy with that? Yes. Just say we either no comment or we welcome it.
Welcome it.
Welcome it. Okay.
Somebody considering the design like this,
Yeah.
it's a joy.
It'll make the bungalow next on the other end look bad. 26/018198/LBC. It's listed building consent at 2 Colne Hall, Linden Road, Colne, and it replacement of windows and doors for flats 1 to 4. Yes, Sarah.
Sorry to go on. This is a listed building and it's in a conservation area. And essentially what the heritage report says is that it's chilly. It's chilly. And so what they'd like to do is take away all the perfectly serviceable historic fabric that's fine but chilly and replace it with brand new, which won't be chilly. That's essentially what it says. And they've said that they'll try to keep it, the doors especially, as close to the ones that they've got now as possible, which isn't to say they're going to be exact replicas. And certainly, if this was a house lived in by anybody on this council, rightly, this would be turned down because they'd say, Mary Thomas, suck it up, you're cold, put on a jumper. It's a listed building and it's a historic fabric and it's not a like-for-like replacement. It's actually an upgrade, an update, an up whatever that's going to be an approximation of what's there now. It's not the historic fabric. We lose all the original glass. We lose all the original wood. We lose all the original doors. But because it's social housing, they're saying in the weighted balance of harm, they say it is harm. The loss of all the historic fabric is harm. Wait a minute, where's the scales going? Harm. But it's outweighed by the social good of the fact it's not one individual who'll be warm, it's loads of individuals who'll be warm. And they're saying because of that, it's fine. And perhaps they're right. They could well be right. And perhaps the officer's report would say exactly that. But part of me thinks they list buildings for a reason, and it's because of that historic fabric, those doors, not an approximation of doors, those actual doors that make it a historic special building. Otherwise, what have you got? You've got pastiche. You've got a replica. You've not got what caused the listing in the first place.
Is that the where you used to go and pay your co-op dividend? Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, yeah. Is it Accent or one of those people has it? Yes, yeah, yes. Patricia.
Thank you. I agree with what Sarah said. It's taken away the character of the building. Just because somebody says, I'm not warm, I'm cold. That is character. It's a listed building. Enough said.
Yes, Andy.
The heritage report says that the doors will be as closely as possible. As closely.
It's a fine building to look at, it is. Yeah. Andy.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. If you've got multiple people living there and they're saying they're cold, they're going to put the heating on. If they're putting the heating on, that means the gas bill's going up, electric bill's going up. And we're trying to, no, we've been saying the cost is going stupidly. I think we've got a duty of care that we have to recognise that kind of costing. But if it was to be rephrased to a wording such as a like for like appearance rather than closely, I'd rather it was more like for like in appearance rather than we'll get somewhere near. Like I say, we don't want it where it's brown, shiny plastic. We want it to be reasonable.
Ian, and then Alice.
Thanks, Chair. Does it mention what materials the replacement doors and windows are going to be of? Timber. They are going to be timber. I agree with Sarah though. No, it's a listed building. End of story. Now they're saying, oh, people are going to get cold. They're trying to give you these images of all the residents in that place dying of hypothermia. Has anybody actually asked the residents? Are they actually suffering from extreme cold in winter? I bet the answer is no. They just close the curtains, keep the heat in. I don't think this is necessary. I think they're doing this to save on maintenance costs for the future, and I think we should strongly object to saying no. It's a listed building in a conservation area. No, end of. And that's happened in. There was a battle down Exchange Street with the Heritage Quarter on the left. Quite a few years ago, they wanted to replace all the windows, and they were refused point blank because it was in conservation area, and they couldn't argue on that. I think we should do the same. This is in a conservation area. It is listed. End of story. No.
Alice, and then David.
I'm just going to echo what Sarah and Ian has said. We have a duty to look after our heritage. And I think that this building has been in Colne for, well, at least 100 years, I would have thought. And we can't be saying, oh, let's get rid of the glass. Let's get rid of the beautiful doors and make it just okay, just about right. No, we need to keep the character of this building.
Thank you. David.
Yes, Chairman. I know one of the directors of the company who owns this building quite well, and I have been told that they haven't had any complaints from residents saying they are cold, and that the building's not fit for purpose and it won't keep the cold out, it's too drafty. What this is all about, it's all down to government legislation, which actually states that by a certain time frame, all social housing properties have to be regarding the thermal thing, they've got to be a C or better, and it isn't. And it's just a tick box exercise so that they can say all their properties are a C or better. And that's all it's about.
Well, I go in that when I can get in to deliver leaflets, and it doesn't feel particularly cold to me. It is quite big, the corridor, so it looks echoey, if you will, but the actual physical, you don't go in and think, oh, this is cold. It's not.
I thought that actually might be a reasonable compromise. The best thermal performance is secondary glazing. So if they kept all the windows and just painted them, and then they commissioned secondary glazing throughout, they would get better than double glazing in terms of thermal performance and noise reduction. And then, I suppose, compromise, we're not going to get those doors as a C, but perhaps if we could insist that they are exact replicas, is that a reasonable compromise that respects the legislation, the residents, and the history? And we keep the original glass with the secondary glazing behind. And I bet you it would be cheaper too.
Anybody going to second that? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yes. You'll second that about secondary glazing and trying to keep the building as it is. It's got a wonderful staircase upstairs going up. Yeah.
Just looked it up, 1867/68.
Oh, right. Yeah. So we've got that. Yes. Right. And the last one is 26/0168/ADV. It's 3 Albert Road, Colne. It's advertisement consent for an illuminated fascia side to side elevation. Yes, Sarah.
It's made me a bit cross again. I must have had a cross morning. I've asked Nathan to go onto Street View because I've complained about this in our conservation area. He's going to show us what it looks like now. It is enormous, but also it's sort of grim, isn't it? Like they haven't done the downpipe so that you've got dampness. I've complained about this before. Look at that. And then you've got these windows that are just sort of boarded up all the way along. And then at the end, if we can go to the end of the road, but still look back, we've got these 2 windows that obviously tell us offers, presumably, which obviously are adverts in themselves. And then on top of that, they want to put signage down the side above those windows on the ground floor level and illuminate it with a separate illumination bar. And I just feel this is a tacky mess. They've got 4 little adverts. Sorry, can we go back to Street View again, Nathan? They've got 4 little adverts there, which look like A3. Then you've got your 2 boarded up windows, which they're using as adverts. How many adverts does this shop in our conservation area require? I just think, yes, they can have the one across the top, but perhaps they shouldn't be having the A3 on the corner, the 4 A3s, and the 2 boarded up windows used as adverts. It's just too much.
Yeah. Is that the top of Chapel Street? That's the yeah. That's a drinking place, isn't it? It's like where you buy wine, things, bargain booze. Yeah.
I'm sure they probably wouldn't do if the application was for that. but I bet you that they've had it for years and years. Actually, Nathan, we can find out. Do sort of map regression. Google Street View allows you to go back in time. See more dates. Can you see more dates? In this corner here. So go back as far as we can. Go back to 2009. So in 2009, we had an operational window. We had no adverts. So can we come forward in time? And in 2015, we had one advert and none of the ones on the side. And then,
Oh, two ads.
yes. So wait a minute. So we've got 10 years that you could enforce. So those 4 A3 probably are not compliant.
Plus the 95%.
And I don't remember there being a planning application for it. So I think that we could actually say, could we look at enforcing against the 4?
And then the other windows were
No.
The proper windows. And we'd like to see that in our conservation area, please. Because the boarded up windows just look awful.
Dreadful. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You know what it sells, you can't. Have you got that? No. You're saying. We object to that of 6 foot odd thing, illuminated sign, and we also think that there's too much advertising on the side as
So
well.
is it something that the shop sells, or is it something else?
I think it's something else, isn't it, against smoking?
It's not the thing, it's tobacco products, or is it nicotine?
I thought they only sold wine and beer.
Well, I want to see from that shop to say 2,600 quid.
Mhm.
That, at best, 8 years, so it's enforceable.
Yeah. They've been doing things without permission, basically.
Windows that disappeared.
Yeah.
I'll ask them to repair that damn pipe, which I've already asked them to do.
Well,
Right.
Oh, it'll be that then, won't it?
so what are we as a town council saying about this?
We've got potential to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're on the board that we object to the application as is on the side, and we also request the board, whatever it is.
The rules have changed, there's a long line of conservation and in the last decade.
Yeah. Are you all right? Yeah. Okay. Right.
Sorry, Mary, could I just ask one request? I've been getting 1 or 2 delegated applications to look at, and they've had Combe Town Council no response. And I've said there has definitely been a response. You know, I remember it being discussed, etc. And I looked at the minutes for this one, and 1 or 2 of them are there. So, but one of the officers said that he hadn't been sent the March minutes with
Oh,
our decisions on. So he also asked whether there were April ones. I said, well, the meeting's tonight.
yeah. So make sure they get sent to the planning officers. Okay. Thank you, David, for that. The next is correspondence received now, and we've got Calderdale Energy Park. We've received that application that you may.
Yeah, so this is referring to the statutory consultation that they invited comments from us for. I think it's open till June.
So I know that these people have been going to the meeting that they are.
Yeah, so there was the parish forum yesterday, of which our representatives are Councillor David Coburn-Price and Councillor Bell. Do we have an update from that meeting?
If I give the initial feeling I had with that last night was they've had a previous meeting with Calderdale and a parish there, which from the sounds of last night turned into complete turmoil. So last night was a setting up of how it's going to go forward with this forum, which is information, ideas, but not decision making. Now, they did have 5 members from Calderdale there, and they were given a brief overview of what they want to send forward. But going forward for the next few meetings, it's going to be a case of which topic are they going to bring up to discuss more in depth. The idea of going through just the north of Lancashire Bridge and the access route going through there up to the moors, one from Bradford's side, but it sounds like it's going to be Lancashire Bridge route, which is going to be the most heavily trafficked, more with especially the construction side. Issues were raised for where they're going to be. They're making an off-route road. It will be joining the main road that goes to Haworth, but it was a case of when, the disruption, traffic management, all these phases were raised. Well, I know you took some notes last night, David, but it just seemed to be like an overview type thing more than an in-depth.
Okay.
Yeah.
David?
I think it was one of those ones where, as you say, there'd been a previous meeting, and obviously we hadn't been invited to it. Even when they first put together the list of councils to come along to this, Cone wasn't on the list, which I thought was slightly amazing, given that the western access road is through Cone and then through Lancashire Bridge. The way it was set out, imagine a big room, a bit like this, but with the top end with all the people from the wind farm company. Although now, of course, they're an energy park, not a wind farm. So what they did was they set out the agenda, which was that they would agree at terms of reference, like any committee should have. The chairman is a chap from Wadsworth Council, so they're really on the ball with this kind of thing. And they went through the latest design. So there were lots of things saying the non-statutory consultation has already taken place. They've responded to all the comments that came in. They've now changed it. They've moved this. They've sorted this. They've analysed this, and they've made some changes. So obviously, when they come to the statutory consultation, deadline 10th of June, everyone's got the chance to reply, and the questions are sort of weighted a bit towards, do you think we've responded well to the comments we received last time? Then in theory, what they've done is they set out all the stuff about, here's the latest road design, here's the latest news on the cable routing over towards Bradford. But you get the feeling the more they outlined about it, the more you thought to yourself, you haven't finished this yet, have you? So it really is work in progress. And these big national infrastructure projects, apparently, the guidance from a lady who sat next to me was very knowledgeable. She said basically you have a thing called the Rochdale envelope. And the Rochdale envelope means that what you're supposed to do when you do this is you give the worst case scenario. And that way people can comment on that. And if it obviously improves, then it's better and it's therefore okay. But what this lot are doing is they're saying everything's fine. It's all good. You know, no problem about the peat. We'll reuse the peat. The peat will be fine. We've got to dig up some peat, but then we'll use it down the side and we'll fill in some old holes and things like that. So the peat won't be wasted. You know, whereas the talk at the Mooney showed that the peat basically becomes a waste product, all the CO2 is released and the whole environmental benefit is lost. So all of these things come out. You get the feeling the roads are sort of a bit work in progress. There's a bit of a pinch point near the Atom Panopticon, for example. So they need a split route there with extra roads going through there. Never mind about the Lidget roundabout. You just drive straight across that anyway. You know, your 80-metre long things have got to make their way through Lancashire Bridge, get around that 90-degree corner. That's a good one. Then you turn into the thing with another double access route going in there. So everything is there. The talk at the Mooney said there are lots of fundamental unanswered questions. Locations of wind turbines are one. Seems there's been a bit of a development today where somebody said you've got them all wrong. So, you know, there's some sort of debate about whether that's a sort of fundamental problem with this. But also things like where you're getting all the stone from. What stone is it? You know, because limestone is not suitable. You can't use this. It's all the wrong materials to leach into the soils, etc. So the idea is it's going to be either grit or granite, which of course has to be shipped in, which is where all these tens of thousands of loads are going to come from. So you're going to ship in all of this stuff. Last night, of course, they said, don't worry, we'll dig some holes and we'll reuse the material. Well, the material's not there. That's the problem. So the whole thing developed like that. They don't know what material they're going to use, haven't decided it yet. But don't worry, you can respond to the consultation, even though that's not been decided. Then you've got the people sort of down the hill, as it were, the Hebden Bridge lot, etc. They're all thinking, well, hang on a minute, this thing is a big sponge. It keeps in all the water, a bit like the lower Rough and upper Rough did. And if you dig it all up and put hard standing everywhere and roads everywhere, hang on, aren't we going to get flooded? And obviously places like that suffer flooding periodically. So the idea again is, have you done the hydrology? So they say, well, don't worry, we're analysing the peat, we're sorting out what it is. We had to take early readings 100 metres apart to get the depth of the peat. Is it 30 centimetres or is it much deeper? Now they've been doing every 20 metres. You think, well, hang on a minute, you're doing that work in the ground nesting bird season. So you're trespassing effectively on land, which should be birds, and you're doing this. So it's all made up as they go along, I think. And what you had was, there was the chief engineer for the project, softly spoken Scotsman, who wandered up and down and said his views about how it was all developing. And he had a sidekick techie bloke, an Australian chappie, who really started to come to the fore and spoke a lot more about some of the technical details that were there. So they've got some of their answers. They're having all these consultation things. It's a bit like jumping through hoops, because that's what they're supposed to do. So you'll see there's one coming up in Trawden, there's one at Primmett as well. There was one the other night at Hebden Bridge, I think, where and you saw the number of people that were there. So you're thinking, well, is the Primmett Community Centre big enough? Is one question. But you know, you might do the Hippodrome, or you might do here, for example. I don't know. But there's obviously a series of questions being answered, being asked, and being answered in a sort of off-pat way. So I think what we need to do really is, we've got the consultation newsletters come out, and you can see there's also a form to fill in. You'll have a form that's almost designed to be handwritten, don't you? You know, tick this box. Are you more satisfied with this design than you were with the last one? If any comments, please write in this tiny box. So they're not really giving a huge scope for response. So I think just like anything,
there is an online version that allows you to do it.
exactly, to write chapter and verse. Yes. I mean, one bloke did a post today, which I saw was like a whole book of his own personal opinions. So I think we as a council obviously need to do a response. Perhaps Andy would like to do a first draft. Good man. No, it doesn't matter. I think it's one of those ones. If we do a sort of iterative document in a Word document, and then we can work it along, we can add to it and flesh out. There's plenty of information that these people have been doing this for years, because they first came about in sort of 2023 or so. I think we just saw an early presentation at Trawden a long while back. But there's a lot of information which they've already got. There's the sort of famous 20 questions you can ask, which I've already answered one. But with those kind of things, you know, we've got the questions to ask when it comes to our consultations. We should put this on the agenda for the next meeting to obviously discuss a draft response of some kind, and then we can get it in well before the 10th.
Yes.
I was going to talk about pollution.
I was just going to say, I'm not impressed that, like, the Hebden Bridge on Tuesday, we had
a consultation between 1 o'clock and 7 p.m. And this Saturday on the 9th of May, they give us from 11 till 3 o'clock. And then on Thursday, the 21st of February, 2 till 7 seems to me a very short period of the heat compared to what we're doing. There are only not 1 till 5 to work. This one there here for 4 hours. Surely we're going to need more people than that on the side. A lot of the period of time.
It's very early days, isn't it? I mean, perhaps at some stage, the council should have a conversation or something, about the whole thing. Sort of, if we need that, I don't know. I mean, some of us are happy to have wind farms, but it's just whereabouts then, if they're done properly, etc., that we're looking at the moment, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, Sarah.
So I'm sure a lot of people are aware that years ago now, an AQMA was declared at Windsor Street, Air Quality Management Area, and it was automatically monitored so that you could look at it online years ago. So when we're going back to 2016, you could look at it online and you could see it in real time, but you could also see the past, last week, last month, last year. It was really good. And then again, during COVID, it broke down, so it didn't work. And then I was on Policy and Resources Committee, and they brought a paper to say that now they got manual readings, and the manual readings are brilliant, and there's no pollution, hardly at all. And so therefore, Pendle Council should declare the AQMA. And I thought, how miraculous, because previously, when it was continuously done, it was way over the limit for health. It was way over a lot of the year. And then suddenly, miraculously, way under. And we've got a citizen scientist in Legit and Beyond called Dr. Mark Turner. He's got 2 degrees and a couple of doctorates or whatever. And he'd been looking at this. And I wrote to him and I said, why is it that suddenly, I'm not suggesting that Pendle Council are fiddling the results, but how come suddenly they're really low? And he said, oh, I know why it'll be. Because whoever's doing the manual readings will go at a quiet time. Because you wouldn't go in rush hour, would you? You wouldn't. Why would you do that? So you tootle along at sort of 11:30 in the morning. It's all fine. Do it. Reading low. Jobs are good. They're not trying to deceive us. It just has happened that way. So I wrote to Philip Spur at Pendle Council with this view, and I made a demand. I said, I demand that we see continuous. There was a little bit of pushback, and they've done it. So for the last month, it is now continuously monitored again. So I went online to look at it, and it gave the results for the day. So I was like, I could be being really stupid here. I just can't see how to get anything else other than today. And I tried everything. I thought, I'm being really, really dim. I'm not getting this. I sent it to Dr. Turner. He was like, it's not just you. I'm not getting it either. I wrote to Philip Spur again, and he said, oh, I'll come back to you. It turns out Pendle Council don't know how to use it either. So everybody can only see it for one day. So it's no good at all because we can't see yesterday. I mean, unless, of course, we keep records where we just continually do it. Yeah. We're going to forget a day, aren't we? Obviously. So I've said, please, can we find out how to do it? And so they're sending the staff on some training course to find out how to see proper records. Now, the reason that I've whiffled on about this is I'm really, really glad that I insisted that we kept our AQMA because I think it's essential. And at the rally at the Mooney, they said there'd be 65,000 HGVs. They're the loaded ones, but they have to go back again. So actually it's 120,000, 125,000, whatever, HGVs. And there isn't any money to resurface North Valley Road. That's not a thing. So it's not LCC because it won't be LCC by then. But the new unitary were picking up the bill for 125,000 HGVs. Can you imagine what 125,000 HGVs are? It's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot. I think, you know, we went to the thing at the Mooney. You went to the thing at the Mooney. People are really waking up to this now, and they had these little like estate agent signs things, and people have put them up, and they've been stolen on private land, taken in the night. So we're waiting to find someone with a Ring doorbell. Not us. We haven't got one, but somebody that has, to see who's taking these signs because they're all going. So my feeling is what we should do is be aware of everything that's going on, read everything that's going on, be as informed as we possibly can be, and then really put our response in when we've read everybody else's almost and got the most information. So we do it at the very, very last minute. Not that I like to leave things till the end, but I think that that's how we'll be best informed.
Any other comments? David and then David.
Yes, Chairman. The equipment for testing it on Windsor Street, I can remember the times before they were put there when they were actually on Albert Road. Probably before the time when you came on council, it'd been early 20s, probably late 1990s. And I used to get all figures for that because at that time I was chair of traffic management before Pendle got everything stripped off and taken back to county, and we lost it. And the average going up Albert Road was always, if you took the average for all the way up Albert Road, it was always fairly reasonable. But there were two peak places where it was about 10 times as high, and both of them were in two significant places, really, and they were both about 5 metres higher up Albert Road than the two Pelican crossings. It doesn't need one. If you stop and then if you set off again, that's when it. And if you look at how busy it is on Windsor Street, queuing up for lights.
Yes.
All them every day roundabout.
Yes.
Setting off and stopping, setting off and stopping. There is no way up there it could. Because every time they put the foot down, they just go around the back.
The other problem off that road as well, is where the line says, if you're going towards the park, where you've got the lateral lights for the tolls and KFC that area, you set and get up to there, and you get a bit of red light, so you sat there. You then get the traffic that backs to KFC. The other side of the green line, you sat there on red. And it changed again. You still on red. Now I been there 2 or 3 times. But meanwhile, you've got traffic built to Skips Road, which is old station. Like I said, why is that else? It's just absolute nightmare.
So just to sort of finish off, no one has mentioned this at all. So no one in any of the official people mentioned our AQMA. I'm so glad we've still got it, honestly. No one has mentioned it, and I think it's a thing. Might not be the most important thing, but to us in Cone, it's a thing. 125,000 HGVs. What's the North Valley going to be like?
I'm more concerned about the state of the roads and the state of the environment going through going through Leinster, through Leinster Bridge. You've said they're already going to go right more or less just straight across the roundabout. What is it? Is it a 37-degree angle that turn at the roundabout?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, 30. It's roughly about 37-degree angle.
It's only 80 metres long.
I know, yeah, and you've got, as you say, 65,000 of them. You've got all these long vehicles. You've got the heavy Arctic coming with the taking the aggregate in and coming away. The soil, yeah, the peat. You've also got the noise of the engines as well. the noise of the vehicles. Not apart from what's coming out the tailpipe. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for any residents living up that way. And you know, my bosses at work, they all live Trawden, Barnoldswick, Pence, you know, that, up Sabden and up that way, and they come through that way. And they said now, even now, that it's a nightmare getting through certain sets of lights, and because of the state of the road. What's it going to be like after all these roads? It's going to all these vehicles. It's an absolute nightmare in way.
Thank you. I mean, we can do all that and get all the evidence, but in fact, it'll be Ed Miliband from the government that decides. You know, so we haven't got anything that we can say we can stop it, but you know, we can collect all the evidence that's needed.
So just a bit more to conclude then. As you say, the trucks, I believe big lorries, 20 tons. These apparently could be up to 40, 45 tons. So again, we're all saying, you know, SUVs make a mess of the roads and whatever, but imagine what a 44-ton truck does. I think you're right, though, in terms of the decision-making process. Basically, we have until the 10th of January. The next meeting,
June.
10th of June. The next meeting for the parish councils is on the 12th of May. So they're going to have a meeting there. The topics that were highlighted, particularly for discussion, as I say, there was the hydrology flooding aspect, which people were interested in downstream a bit. There was one thing came up about noise and vibration. So one chap was particularly interested on it. He said basically these things make noise like an air source heat pump. So you imagine we've had one or two planning applications, haven't we, where all the houses have got air source heat and they have that low vibration noise. So, you know, it disrupts sleep, it goes a mess of, you know, some parts of nature respond badly to it, etc. So you've got that as another one to consider. And obviously it fits in with the AQMA materials as well, you know, the environmental aspects of that. And the other one that people were interested in was obviously the roads and the journeys, etc. So they're the bigger topics that they're going to wheel out their experts to be able to be questioned by the various parish council enthusiasts. Parish councils can bring in an expert or two. I think as Andy touched on, the first meeting descended to chaos because one of the experts went a bit mad apparently, and started shouting a lot. So we'll see what comes of that. In terms of timings, we don't get any other chance beyond the 10th. So there's this much more detailed one of the timeline. So essentially on the 10th, we submit all the statutory consultation information. They digest it over summer. They refine their submission, November, December, etc. In it goes for examination. And there's something about interested parties. So I don't know whether that means councils or people, or you have to register separately. I don't know. There's an ability to then lobby an examiner. Don't know how that's going to work. But then, as you say, in the hands of Department of Environment and Net Zero, whatever it's called. And it's the planning balance, which we saw at the thing at the Mooney. There are some things for it, obviously, like climate change, and it's a national infrastructure project, etc. But the things against it are the ones to have the focus on. We've got the idea of the transport, the lorries, the materials, etc. We've got the environment. We've got the fact it's an SPA, it's an SAC as well. So you've got the peat and you've got the birds. And you've got this other thing called the Kunming-Montreal Treaty, which is the one that leads to the 30 by 30 thing. So it basically means 30% of our land has to be lovely and protected by 2030. And we're currently at
9.
I thought it was 7.1.
Oh, no, I think we include Scotland, we're on 9.
Right. So we're pitifully low, one of the most nature depleted countries in the entire world. And here we are. It's a big test for Ed, this one. If he decides to go his climate change hat, then he'll just press ahead. If he decides to do all his other responsibilities, then it should be rejected.
Just to briefly say that apparently they made them an offer last night to print off all the documents. 12 grand if you want them printing off. Not like they're trying to make you sad in any way. We came to Cone Town Council and said we'd like them to print it off, Mary. Can I put in a bid for £12,000?
Yes,
I hope everyone would say no, don't bother.
It's a thing called the Preliminary Environmental Impact Report, the PEIR. The PEIR is 577 pages long. It has another 1,000 pages of appendices and numbers, and another half a hundreds of pages. So you end up with basically over 2,000 pages, and they want to charge you £12,000 to print it. £6 a page.
So
You can have the non-technical summary, which is quite narrow.
I don't know. I think we've got a lot of different arguments and thoughts that we can bring together ultimately in our thing.
So if anybody that also, or anybody we know who has something what we think is a good argument, who are we pushing? Who are we saying they should go and talk to?
I was going to say that doctor who lives up by Castle Road, the one that did the curlews. So
Well, no, he's just a curlew man. I think that Gina should collate all the various bits, like Mr. Curlew or whatever. No, I don't think you should write it all down. I think you should create a repository of it, and then for our next meeting, we might have something on the curlews and something on the. We might have more bits, and it would help us put it all together. But I think if everyone wrote to Gina with it, I think that's the best thing to do. But what I was going to say is that Ed Miliband makes his decision in November 2028, isn't it?
No, it's sooner than that.
Sooner than that. When does he make his decision?
Spring 28.
Spring 28. Well, an awful lot can happen between now and spring 28. There can be things that slip in terms of timetables. You know, you're in the last year of the Labour government. A lot of people have now written into our MP. He's now come off the fence a bit, hasn't he? Our MP in the last 24 hours. If a lot more people wrote to our MP in the last year of a Labour government, things might just slip another couple of months that's closer to the general election. There are a lot of people saying to me, oh, it's all hopeless, you need to give in. It's not hopeless. It's not hopeless. And I think that the timetable might just be at a very sort of political sweet spot for this government. So let's just see. Let's do our best and let's just see.
And there was a
Thank
debate
you.
today, actually, at 2:30. The MP for Keighley is particularly good at this. So he's been doing a lot of promotion about it. He got a debate in Westminster Hall. Don't know how it went or what was decided or discussed or whatever, but you know, again, it's risen up the political agenda both nationally and locally. So it's all about capitalising on that, doing what we think is best for our town and our environment, which I think we're all in one voice.
Can I just say one thing which relates to this in a sense? There is a limit of the extra work that we can push in Gina's direction, because Gina has missed the target once for getting her Silca, and she is going to struggle to get it for the next time. And I think it is far more important for this council to make sure that Gina gets her Silca sorted out and in place. So I don't think we can be pushing much work in Gina's direction unless Gina's going to turn around and say, no, I found it loads and loads of extra time where I can do it, and it won't be a problem. And I don't think she is.
I'm not suggesting extra work for Gina, just that Gina creates a repository.
It might not be a lot from this, but there are other things that are simpler. And we say, oh, it's not a lot. But all these little bits add up. And she's nowhere near where she should be with Silca at the moment. Am I correct?
Could Nathan be the repository for it then? Somebody just needs to hold.
In the future at this council,
Yeah.
David will back up on this, because David knows how important it is. The future of this council, to a certain degree, the council will benefit greatly when Gina acquires Silca. So it is important that we allow her the time to get it. In fact, I've told her on more than one occasion to take Fridays off and go into the library and do a Silca work out of way.
Yeah.
She never gets time to do it.
The problem with that is I can't effectively reduce my hours and do more work. It doesn't work. Yeah.
Yes, it has. Well, that's why I was thinking who can be the repository. I didn't want it to be Gina. We're thinking of one of the councillors or one of the two that go to these meetings. That anybody who has a good idea can just send them a little email and said, you know, I've heard somebody's told me this, or you know, just things like that. I don't want Gina to be doing things because I'm with you. She needs to get that Silka done.
Because
Yeah.
there are a lot of extra things that this council can do, what we've got in.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, exams are important, and shame on you for not progressing them. You've got a team around you to delegate,
Yeah.
right? And I think this role, because of the way it's structured, there are structured questions to answer. As you say, there's an online thing where you can write whatever you like, and obviously we can start to put something together to do that. So just like, you know, Sarah answers the 225 questions or whatever for the NPPF, it's a case of saying we just need a bit of admin support to potentially, well done, to essentially sort of just coordinate people's names. If we think we've got an expert in the area who can chip in, and obviously we'll be asking the Stronger Together team, we'll be asking the Wadsworth team, etc. They've done 9/10 of the work already. They're far ahead of us. You know, we're coming to this as almost brand new people. It's just a case of tapping into them and saying, can you send me this? Can you send us that? And almost it's just like saying, can we just make sure we've got it? And if there's somebody to chase, can you send us this? If there's somebody who we think is somebody we can tap into, can you write us a few paragraphs about this? Then we've got some sort of person to help us. That doesn't sound too hard, does it?
Yeah. Right. Well, we'll investigate that. Who's the best person to do that and get carry.
Not the best person. You need to do a social media post saying calling all experts on curlews, peat, ecology, transport, air pollution, road building, noise pollution, and calling all coners to a hive mind. Please send the email to. The deadline is
admin at.
And I think we need to give ourselves like a fortnight to come up with our master response. So we need to gather it all, say 2 weeks before the 10th of June.
Actions? What are they?
Have we got any other correspondence received?
No.
No. Oh, yes. Yes, Alice and Howard. Alice first. Ladies
I'm
first.
just wondering if you did get the Cone in Bloom report this time.
I did get it, but I think the agenda item was pulled because of Perda.
Oh right, okay.
Next month it'll be.
Okay, yeah.
Or you can tell us when we switch up, which dot.
Yeah, just before you get too far away from the wind farm, a technical question: can we, in putting out a plea, could we arrange an email to wind farm object or something so that it's all in one?
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah.
3 in that inbox, 4 in that inbox.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if somebody gets installed it,
yeah.
Yes, Sarah.
I had the cone bit just before this, and I left early. And as I was leaving the blustery barrel, Ash said, surely they will have the discussion about the bus shelter by the Crown. And I said it's probably under correspondence received.
Oh, I was going to take it to the next FES meeting because they said at FES that they wanted to talk about bus shelters and benches and the fact that they've changed bus routes, etc., etc. Yeah.
Right. I don't know.
Well, apparently it's not going to be needed anymore.
Apparently it'll never be needed again.
Which I wasn't aware of till Ash told me.
Well, I don't know when it starts, they're never going to use it again. But apparently never going to use it again. Not there?
The selling point of the Grimmett Centre is you can walk out the door, 4 minutes, you're on the bus. Going up, that's going down.
Didn't mean to cause havoc, I'm sorry.
Oh,
We'll mention that.
okay. Right. No more items for a future month's agenda.
Sponsor the wind farm.
Yes, response to the wind farm. Anything else? Well, if you think of anything or anything asked for it to be put on, just remember. Okay. It'll be the annual meeting.
Yeah,
won't
so
it?
just bear in mind, obviously, it's the next normal meeting is the annual, so you've got all the committees, chairman, vice chairman, etc., etc. So
And is that
we
going to
need-
be before the main meeting?
that will be the main meeting.
Right.
The annual parish meeting
Yeah.
is the week before
Oh,
on
yeah.
the Wednesday. It's the 13th of May. I can tell you that invitations have gone out. They've gone out by email. They've also been posted. And we're going to do a social media post as well.
Mm.
It's at 6 o'clock.
Can I just mention the opening of the market on the 1st of May? Is everybody, well, we haven't got a proper invite. I know that the staff here have got an invite, haven't you?
No,
Not
not
yet.
yet.
Yeah. So I think it'd be nice if we all go or try to go to be at the yeah. Okay. Well, I'll see you on the 1st of May, and then at the annual parish meeting, and then at the full council meeting.